Can we sit with something for a second? The feeling that you are behind. Behind where you thought you would be, behind where people your age seem to be, behind some invisible schedule that nobody actually wrote down, but somehow everybody agreed to follow. I know that feeling intimately. I've laid awake with it. I've scrolled through Instagram with it sitting heavily on my chest, watching people, my friends, peers, acquaintances, announce the highlight of their lives while I was sitting in the middle of rebuilding mine again. I want to talk about it today, and honestly, not the reframe version where I just tell you everything happens for a reason and send you on your way. No, but the real conversation about why we feel behind, what that feeling is telling us, and most importantly, why evidence suggests that you haven't lost time at all. Welcome back. I'm Soumya, and this is part 3 of our growth series. It's the one I wish someone had made for me 3 years ago. Let me name something that I feel especially true for women who've grown up in South Asian household or any culture that has strong expectations around where people should be around a certain age. There is a timeline, an assumed one. Nobody hands it to you, but somehow you absorb it from people around you. From your relatives asking, when are you getting married? To your college seniors who are all nicely settled while you are still figuring things out. To the Instagram feed that shows that everybody got the memo that somehow you didn't. A degree by 22, a job by 24, partner found and life stabilized by 27. And if you're not there, consciously or not, you already start to feel like you're failing the game of life. I felt that feeling acutely. Coming from a small town, from a family where I was expected to follow a certain path. Become a doctor, be settled, make the family proud in traditional sense. When I couldn't meet those expectations, not just once, but twice, I didn't just feel disappointed. I felt like I was already falling behind and I was barely in my 20s. And that feeling of being behind, that never really went away. It just shifted. After MBA, it became about landing the right job. After that, being with the right life partner. And every time I thought that I was finally done catching up, something would reset and that feeling would be back. So I'm going to start by naming it. If you feel like you are behind in life, you're not just imagining the pressure. It's real. It's cultural. It's almost built into every structure around us. And it's not the truth about your life. Let's talk about comparison. Because here's what I think. We all know we're not supposed to compare ourselves to others, yet we do it anyway. Especially at 2 a.m. when we are feeling low and Instagram is right there. Here's what I think is wrong with Instagram. It's a highlight reel versus raw footage problem. When I was going through the hardest times of my life, you know what my life looked like from outside? Fine. Perfectly fine. I was not posting about my bad landlords or bad people I was meeting every now and then. I was not posting about the Sunday afternoons that I spent feeling completely lost. Nobody saw any of that. And the people you compare yourself to, the ones who look like they have it all figured out, they have their version of it too. The relationship that looks picture perfect but costs them their peace. The job that looks impressive but drains their soul. The new city that they moved into, where they feel completely lost in. A life that looks like an arrival but feels like a cage on the inside. Comparison is not a fair contest. It is a contest where they show up in their best clothes, but you show up as who you are, someone in the middle of a process. And then you declare yourself to be the loser. That's not data. That's not truth. That's just pain looking for evidence. So the next time you catch yourself comparing, which you will because we all do, I want you to ask, what am I not seeing? What is the raw footage version of this person's life? Am I willing to trade my whole story, including the parts that are hard, for theirs? The answer is usually no. Okay, now I want to do something which I think will shift something for you. I want to reframe the years that felt like setbacks. Not with toxic positivity. Not with it was all a blessing. No. I want to do the actual accounting of what was really happening beneath the surface. Because here's the thing. When I felt like for years nothing was happening for me, I was actually doing the most important work of my life. I just couldn't see it while I was in it. During those years, I learned what I absolutely will not tolerate and why I was tolerating it so far. I learned to trust my intuition more. Slowly, it started trusting that feeling in my body that said, this is wrong, even when my brain was making excuses for it. I came off of medication and developed a genuine relationship with spirituality. I understood it, not as a concept, but as a daily life practice that helped me find hope and peace. It actually gave me real and sustainable tools for mental well being. I began to recognize what I actually wanted my life to look like. Not what I was told to want, not what looked good on the paper, but what actually and genuinely made me happy. None of it gets posted on a LinkedIn profile. None of it gets announced. Yet, all of it is real growth. All of it is preparation. Now, I need you to do this for yourself. Think about last 3 to 5 years or however long you think that you've been behind. Think about what you learned about yourself that you couldn't have known before. What did you survive? What did you outgrow? What do you now know about your boundaries, your values, your needs that you couldn't have known before you went through what you went through? Write it down, seriously, not as a journaling exercise, but as an act of witnessing yourself. Most of us are so busy calculating what we do not have yet that we forget to measure what we've already built. Now, I am going to share a framework that changed how I thought about my own timeline. Think about planes. A smaller aircraft needs a short runway to take off, while a bigger one, the one built to carry hundreds of people, their luggage, more weight, it requires a relatively longer one. Now here's the thing, runway has nothing to do with whether a plane takes off, but it has everything to do with what the plane is capable of once it does. I believe some of us are meant for longer runways. Not because we're incapable, not because we're failing, but because we're meant to carry more. In terms of impact, depth, wisdom, and the number of people we're meant to reach. That requires a longer runway. My story is a long runway. Multiple cities, multiple careers, different paths not working out, doors being slammed shut in my face, and now here. Building something that's real, something that's mine, with everything that I've learned along the way. None of those things were detours, they were the runway. Now, I want to say something about depth specifically. Some of the most extraordinary people in the world, writers, leaders, artists, teachers, had what the world called late start. They were building, gathering, learning, suffering privately for years. And when they emerged, they didn't just have something to say, they had gained something that only a long road could give them. The best trees have the deepest roots, and deep roots don't form overnight. In fact, they formed during dry season. They spent years going further and further underground in search of water. They spend years doing the invisible work underground until one day something shows up above the surface. You are a deep-rooted tree. And the tough seasons that you've been through, you were doing the root work. And what's on the surface, what's coming, will hold strong because of all of the work that you've done underground. A reframe is only as good as your ability to access it when you actually need it. So when you're spiraling at midnight, your new custom timeline can feel like a pretty thing that someone said to you once, which has nothing to do with your real life. So let me give you some practical things. 1. Like I said, write it down. Not your failures, not your timeline, your actual list. Everything you survived. Every version of yourself that you outgrew. Every uncomfortable truth you faced about yourself. Every time you chose yourself, even when it was incredibly hard. Now read it back to yourself. This is not a lost person. This is a person who has been doing the real work. If your social media diet is making you feel like you're failing, change it. Not forever, not by deleting everything, but intentionally follow people who are in the process. People who show you the messy middle. People whose journey looks more like yours. Your algorithm shows you more of the content that you engage with. So engage with reality. Now, this one's huge for me. When I'm deep in the season of feeling behind, talking to someone who knew me when I was full of vision makes me realize that that person is still there. She didn't disappear. She just got buried under a lot of hard years. So people who know you from before can actually reflect you, the real you, back to yourself more than your current circumstances can. This one I had to learn. So whenever somebody would ask me where I was and I wasn't in a conventional good place, I would over-explain, justify, apologize for where I was. And all of this just reinforced the story that something was wrong with me. Your timeline doesn't require defense. You don't owe people a map of why you are where you are. You just tell them, I'm working on some things right now, and leave it there. And mean it. When everything feels stuck, the feeling of being behind gets worse when there's genuinely no motion. You don't need a huge win. You need one thing. One class, one conversation, one creative project, one healthy habit, one video that you post despite being scared. Motion creates momentum, and momentum changes how you see yourself in that moment. I want to close this video a little differently, almost with a letter. So I have something written down here and I'm going to read it out. To the version of you that feels behind. You have not lost time. I know it feels that way. I know the evidence around you, the timelines people are hitting, the places people are arriving at, makes it feel like you've been standing still while the world moved. But you haven't been standing still. You've been doing something much harder than moving fast. You've been building yourself from inside out. You've been learning which environments drain you and which ones feed you. You've been figuring out what you actually value and not what you were handed. You've been developing a relationship with your own soul that most people never develop because they're too busy running the conventional race to stop and ask why they're running it. I know that's cold comfort on the days when the bills are real and the progress is invisible. I know. But I want you to consider, what if the person you are becoming because of all of this, not in spite of it, is worth every hard day you've had to live through to get where you are? What if your story, your actual story, with all the detours and the restarts, the years that didn't go to plan, is the exact thing that is going to matter to someone someday in a way that a perfectly smooth story never could? You haven't lost time. You've been gathering yourself. And when you finally show up fully in your own time as the version of you that all of this has been building, it is going to be something that lasts. I'm rooting for you, always. Drop a comment and let me know what you've learned about yourself in a hard season. If this video helped you, share it with someone who this would help too. And subscribe for more content, because there is more video coming along the way. I'll see you in my next video.